What's up, guys? Riviera Customs. I was just gonna make this, but I figured I'd video it. I'm a little ahead than what I should have showed you, but let me try my best to try and film this as I'm doing it. This is gonna be a pretty scuffed video because I'm gonna be shaking the camera around and all that, trying to put it up because I have no mount. So anyways, what I'm making is a pod for gauges that goes in this slot right here in a Buick Regal center console. They sell these, but they want over $80, probably $90 Canadian for it, for a dual pod. So what I did was took some cardboard, stenciled it out, measured it out, you know, started with the base, measured the base out, and then cut another piece, taped it to that piece, and then folded it over. I had, where is it at? Oh, it's in here. I had this little custom piece already, a piece of metal, so I sat it on there to reference where I fold it, and then tape it all up, right? And then tape it down here. And this is cardboard, so resin will stick to cardboard very good. It'll stick to the tape too, but you'll have a hard time getting the cardboard off versus the tape. So this is just like to form my piece, basically. This is totally garbage afterwards. So tape the whole thing up with painter's tape. It's got like a smooth, greasy finish on it. It's so paint don't stick to it. It helps. So what I'm doing, and what they sell for almost $80, $90 is just a piece of plastic. This is carbon fiber. You can get this on eBay for really cheap. Carbon fiber weave. You've seen my bumper that I made. I'll show you for those who didn't see. So here's my back bumper that I made out of carbon fiber. That's my back bumper. It got deformed over the time that it's been sitting. I'll fix that later, and that will be coming later on. I put my steel one back on for now, but I might as well include this in the video. I took the drag radials off, and I bought these Mickey Thompson street tires. Put those on so we can have some fun, do some burnouts, because I didn't want to wear those out doing burnouts. That's coming this summer. Back on topic here. So basically what I'm going to do now, I'm going to wear gloves. I don't have a paintbrush. I thought I did. I'm not going back out to buy it, so I'm going to use the glove to like wipe it in. I would use a paintbrush though, usually. So basically what I'm going to do, mix my resin and lay this over top and pour it on top just to start so it oozes down, and then start smoothing it out, start shaping it, you know what I mean? It'll stick, you get your shape, then you add more resin to make it settle better. And I'm going to do this in stages. Usually you would wait, do another one, wait, do another one. But what I'm going to do is leave it really wet, put that on, get it nice and formed. I'm going to put a second layer over top, put the resin in on that, and layer it all together. This way it's strong right from the start. And after it dries, I will pull it off of here and trim it to what I need and pull this piece out of it, and then I'll have a shell which will be my pod. So let's see if I can't set this up somehow. Like I said, this is gonna suck, but this is how I have to do it. Let's see what I can do here. Maybe I can put it up here. Let's try, guys. Trying my best. So I got a license plate hanging up here. See if I can't get a good angle. There we go. That'll work. Hopefully the phone don't fall and crack my screen. I will be pissed. Let's put this on. Pain in the ass. Alright, there we go. So we're going to open this up. And I'm going to pour it in here. Kind of fill the cap somewhat. Put that aside. Over here. Take our hardener. Like I said, I don't have a paintbrush, so I'm gonna have to do it with what I have. Use this to pop a hole.
Non-stop rock for you, and out of the way, I've got some Metallica. Also, a request for Rat and some Black Sabbath. But right now, it's Van
Hole. And I don't really measure this. Oh, I didn't pop a hole. Use a razor. And slice yourself up. Put that in there. Don't use all of it because you're going to need it for other coats. And I'm going to use my finger. Use a brush, obviously, but I don't have one, so. Alright. So, what I'm going to do, with this razor, pull this over, and like I said, kind of pour it on top. I'm sure other people do it different. This is how I do it. Work it in. This is kind of how I did the bumper too. And you know what? I'm gonna need more. That's okay. All up here, get it started. Now a lot of people, they're picky about how the weave sits. I can care less. Carbon fiber's carbon fiber. Yeah, it looks nice, but it'll look nice if it was see right here, get the edges down, just put some on the box, and then stick like that. Smooth it. This isn't exactly how you do it, but like I said, this is how I'm doing it. I'm gonna mix some more here. Alright. Mix this around. And just to help me, put some on my fingers, lift this up, wipe it on the box, just to help me get it laid down, because it's a weird shape. Put a little bit more on your fingers, and you just kind of smearing it in, trying to get the shape. And then for the front, do the same thing. Put some on my fingers, raise it up, rub it on the box. Just helps it lay down, right? Lay it back, and then start shaping. Yes, weird shapes are a pain in the ass, but it will lay down. Carbon fiber stretches to shape. If you have to, pull it this way, get the face down, pull this back off, it'll always stick back on. Just want to get your starter shape. Work it in until it sits. Make sure nothing pops up. Now I'm doing a second coat, so this green that's showing here from the tape, that's okay. It'll cover in the second coat. Get it laid down. See, it's going to be a rough first coat. You're just trying to get it all laid down properly. You have to move it around. Do what you got to do to get it to lay down. Pull it up. Lay it back down. Once it's wet with this stuff,
it's a 60-minute non-stop
kind of forms like jello in a way.
WLLZ, Detroit's Wheels.
See, tell you the truth, I might have to let this one dry and not do the layers like I was talking about. This is a weird shape. Coming together, I guess. Just gotta tuck it down, that's all. Then we'll put more. Use a lot of this stuff just to make sure you get your shape. nice and thick. Use your hands for feel to get the shapes. Work it all in. And the resin, like when you're moving it around, it'll look like it's going to come out all bumpy, but the resin kind of settles by itself and goes smooth by itself. So want to get your shape. So afterwards, because it's going to be really thick at the bottom, obviously, all the resin running down. But afterwards, you use like a grinder with a cut-off wheel and cut around the edges to get this excess off. And then we'll sit this back down here and do another coat or another layer of carbon fiber. The more layers of carbon fiber, the stronger the piece is going to be. And the way I made this is, what is it, 9.5 inches by 5 inches wide. And I'll have to measure this after because these are not measured, but I will measure those after for you. But yeah, I think you know, there's always that saying, the more you play with it, the worse it's gonna get. So if you feel like it's as good as it's gonna get, then it probably is. And then just stop messing with it, you know. So I just want to get this to lay down, make sure that's tucked for my base. Make sure it's forming the bottom. If you have to, wipe a little excess off around the edges. Yep. Arts and crafts. You ever play with Play-Doh as a kid? You know, it's kind of like that, except it's deadly. But I don't breathe this in. I'm not wearing a mask, but in all my years, I never have. I also don't sit here and breathe it in. I get it done and I leave away from it. But I'd say that's the best I'm gonna get it here. I'm gonna let that dry, and like I said, you cut around the edges after, because this is gonna be really thick and hard, which you want it to be, the base. You want the base to be the strongest. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna get rid of any extra out of this bowl, because I want to use this bowl again. And like I said, whatever you put on top, if you feel like it's too thick, it's fine. It all settles and runs by itself. And there's a little too much here.
Rolling through 60 minutes of non-stop rock, 106.7 Detroit's Wheels with the Mighty Men. And according to Lars, they're in the studio working on a new album that could be their best to date yet. So we're hoping for that. On the docket, let's open up the phone lines.
How you doing, Doc?
Thicken this up over here. Make sure you got it kind of even coverage everywhere. You know, this is going to be thicker. That's okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some strips and lay it on. I'm going to change my gloves though. Kind of grab it where you don't touch your skin, fold it inside out. You do not want to put this on your skin. It'll take months to get off. So, I'm going to put some new gloves on. Why I'm putting new gloves on is because they have all that glue on there, and I'm going to be touching the scissors. I'm going to be touching the scissors. I don't want it all over that. And as soon as you touch this stuff with glue on your hands, it's like running your hands through, I don't know, a bag of feathers with maple syrup on your hands. It's crazy. But anyway, so I'm going to cut little strips to the front, the top, the side, and I'm going to layer it that way. And then later on I'll do a final layer. Let me just get this up here. Somewhere I can cut. Sorry guys, I'm going to be out of shot for a minute. So just little squares like this, you know, trim off the hairs on the edges, try and make it a nice clean piece if you can. Like I said, this is for strength. I'm going to come back later with a full piece like I just did to make it finalized. Cut all the hairs off. As soon as those hairs touch, it's hard to get them to lay down. Want a nice clean piece, the best you can. So what I want to do with this piece is probably lay it right here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this cure a little bit, and then I'll do another layer, and I'll get back to you guys after that. So we'll let it settle, just so it's tacky, because you don't want this stuff to have not dry between layers, or else it's gonna be all kinds of messed up, trust me. So we'll come back to you guys when we're ready to layer it again. Alright, so about 15 minutes went by, and so 15 minutes went by. Let it dry up a little bit. Gloves back on. I cut a few pieces of carbon fiber off camera here. I'm sure you don't want to sit there. We had a frame cutting up carbon fiber, so figured I'd do it off camera. So this has been setting. I'm going to take these pieces, I'm going to lay them out. What I'm also going to do is mix me up another batch of this stuff for the new pieces. The bottom side will stick because this is still wet, but the top side's going to need a coat. So I'll start off with that before I start laying it on, before my hands get all messy. Get that in there. Now guys, this isn't going to be done in one day, so don't expect this to be finished in one day. For one, it needs to dry. For two, what we're doing here is we're using these pieces for reinforcement, just to make it stronger. So I'm going to take a longer piece, cut them to what you think you're going to need, and just lay it on. Okay? And press it on to the shape. Now this part's going to get messy. You're going to get stuff all over your hands like this. That's okay, because this is going to be the last step for day one. Make sure it's like 64 degrees at least. It's probably in the 50s in my garage right now, so if this doesn't turn out, don't let this deter you away from doing it, because I'm doing it in the cold. So if it doesn't turn out, don't worry. If it doesn't turn out, I won't post this video. So mix this around. Take a little bit on your fingers, like this. Lay it down here. And then fold this over. Okay. Just get it all laid down for now. A little bit more if you need, just to lay it down and attach it. Okay. This step is literally to strengthen it up. Lay it down, lay the layers. Now, the bottom layer isn't going to move as much because we've let it sit for about 15 minutes. Now, do your top, because when you put your sides on, and try not to use your other hand so that you can grab those other pieces. Doesn't necessarily matter, but it's less messy. Just keep putting it on, layer it on, and you're gonna get hairs sticking up for sure. But all that will get trimmed off when you do in the next step. So, and I'll show you that. So basically, this video is gonna be 2 days, I guess. So all what I'm doing now is strengthening the part. And then the final, after this, will literally be doing what I did the first time to make the final layer. So there'll be 3 layers in total. And why you want to do the top and the face first, wrap around the top, is because when you put your side piece on, try to get it down on the side, like that, fit the bottom down, and then work it over, like this. All that glue I just put on there, all that resin, is now going to hold your side piece on. You just kind of work it into the side there. Now it's going to be a little hairy, That's okay, because this isn't the final product. This is literally for strength. And if you want, trying to rub off the hairs stuck on your hands here, if you need to. You don't want too much sticking up, or else you're gonna have to grind it off. See what I mean? You can never get it off. So I'm just gonna continue. I'm gonna put my other side on like that. And just dab it. Dab it like that. Dab it on. And at this point, you can do that. Pour it on. Work it around. Make sure it sticks. Flatten it all out. Make sure everything's laid as flat as you can, because you're not going to be able to fix it unless you grind it off. So make sure it's all as flat as you can and glued down the best you can.
They've got great food. They're ready for takeout service or curbside, whatever you guys need out there. But let's do
make sure there's a coat on all sides.
Some of these local restaurants and small businesses as we head into the weekend. Coming on up for you, I've got some Lincoln Park. We'll get to Queen, and we'll kick off your ride home next with Rush. No matter what it's for, 1,000 is coming up instead after. Go fund yourself on 106.7 WLLZ, Detroit Wheels. Hello, Detroit. Switch to WOW Superfast Internet 100 at the best price of $29.99.
Sure, everything's smooth.
You can get a $200 Visa card from WOW. Switch now before this deal ends. Go online at wowway.com for offer details.
Wow. 106.7 WLLZ, Detroit Wheels. Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Lord & Taylor.
Good afternoon. For this check of the traffic, we are watching slowdowns 94 eastbound between I-75 and Counter, also 94 eastbound between 696 and 12 Mile Road. Some minor delays there. We have slowdowns in 59
As soon as everything's smoothed out, it's going to look rough. That's fine, because the next step after this is going to be our final coat, which will be a full piece, full transition. This is literally just to make it strong. So no matter how ugly it looks, don't let it deter you away from continuing to the next step, because it will turn out. You've seen my bumper. Go back at my other videos, and my bumper's only the first coat, so that's not even the final coat. And it looks that good. You know, some things are easier to do, some things aren't. And also, while it's drying, what I've been doing, taking something flat, so I was using a razor. Sometimes it will pop up a little bit, so just, you know, go like that. Whatever's popping up, try and smooth it out. And that's why it's good to use a paintbrush. I didn't have a paintbrush on hand. I thought I had a few extras. So I started this before I knew. But, you know, anything smooth, just to lay stuff down or push bumps down that are starting to pop up. Because the chemical reaction will create gases between the layer, and it'll pop up a little. I've been doing this as it dries, so I'll do that, I'll leave it 5 minutes, I'll come back, make sure there's no bubbling, like bumps sticking up, because you don't want air pockets. And I've just been pushing them down like that. So we're going to let this one dry, and the next step will actually be tomorrow. This has to fully cure, fully dry. Like I said, it's cold as hell in my garage, but make sure it's 64 degrees in yours. If it doesn't work, that's my problem. This video probably won't get posted if it doesn't work. So let this dry out, come back tomorrow, see if it's dry, and if it's dry, then you're gonna move on to the next step, which I will show you in the next part. Alright, so the next day here, jumped ahead a little bit. So basically what I did, I trimmed it out of that sheet with a flat blade around the sides to get this popped off. And then there's all the cardboard. You go inside, slice it with the razor down the middle, pull the bottom apart. Slowly pull the cardboard out and whatever loose tape. You're not going to get all the tape, but if you sit here and pick at it, you probably get all the tape, but it don't matter anyways. You'll never see inside. So I did that. That's real hard. Anyways, took a flap disc like this, ground down whatever rough spots were sticking up, all the way around, straighten out the edges, and basically this is what we have so far. Now this is our skeleton. This is our structure. Now for the final step, put the nice layer down. The layer that's going to look good. So I'm going to get that going. I'm not going to set up my camera. I'll just get back to you. You guys seen how I laid it over it the first time? It's exactly what we're doing this time. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Alright guys, so I did the same thing as you can see. Laid the cloth over and basically put the resin all over the part and then laid this on so that it sticks to it, and then poured another batch over top the whole thing, and basically this is your final product. After it dries, you'll trim it out and that'll be that. See, it's not going to come out absolutely perfect, but if you wanted to, you can let this dry. You can do even another coat of this over top to make it real thick, and then you can wet sand and buff it if you're really picky. But for where this is going, you'll never see the detail. When the light shines on it, you'll just know it's carbon fiber. But here's a finish. Well, the shiny finish. And it just has to dry. And I got the heater going today. This way the final product comes out nice. And I'll get back to you when it's dry. Alright guys, so this is day 3 actually. I let it harden fully. I want to make sure it's completely hard before I start cutting it, but I trimmed it out of that piece, trimmed it a little big so I can shape it with this, and you know, came out alright. You know, I'm not a professional, but it'll work for sure. But if you wanted it pretty, the sides, because of how cold it is in here, did not dry properly. So the sides are a little ugly here on both sides. So what you could do, you know, you got a nice solid cover. You can skim it with a little bit of Bondo and sand it, smooth it, paint it, but I'm not going to right now. I'm going to use it as it is to finish up this video. Let's just give that an option to you, though. That's what you can do. You can always smooth it out with some Bondo. You know, smooth out the rough spots with this, and then give it a skim coat and sand it down. So, but I want to show you what just 3 coats of carbon fiber does. I'm 240 pounds, and I'm standing on that. Look, no leg on the ground, and it holds me up. So that's how strong that is. It's unnecessary for what it is, but you know, to make sure it doesn't break or crack or anything. So I'm gonna run out, go grab the hole saws, cut my gauge holes out, and I'm gonna see if I can't add something to this. So I'll show you what I'm gonna add. Oh, and let me add this. Yesterday I put a new ignition in the car too, because the other one had the chrome part. The ears were broken off. But this is what I wanted to do as well with this pod. So I'll have the 2 gauges, and then I wanted to try and put this in there as well. So this is a USB charger, dual charger, and in the middle right here it tells you your voltage. So I wanted to try and put that in there in the middle of the 2 gauges, maybe. Before I had it in my dash, and I'm getting a new bezel and I don't want to cut any holes in it, so I'm going to try and put this in there. So I'll get back to you in a minute when I get the hole saws. Alright guys, well, here we go. So I took a 2-inch hole saw. I use this little stencil to mark out my holes. Basically, I gotta wipe the dust off, but I just sat it up here so you can see. So this isn't the gauges I will be using. I'm gonna temporarily use this, but I will be buying new ones. So this will be my fuel gauge and my air fuel. And here's some charging ports with some voltage in the middle there. And now I gotta trim the edges here. And that'll be that. Then I'll test fit it in the car. Just wanted to show you this stage real quick. So let's get this trimmed up and put in the car. Alright, well, here it is. It's all trimmed up. It's still dusty. I gotta wipe it down. I actually gotta clean the whole interior. It's all dusty from me in and out of here. You can see the dust floating around too. So here it is. Sits right in that bucket, which I usually put my smokes there, but you know, I can put them in there. Works just as good. And so got my fuel gauge, air fuel ratio gauge, 2 USB charging ports, and in the center of that, like I mentioned, has a digital voltage readout as well. So it's not professional, but this literally cost me $25 to make instead of $90 Canadian to order it online. You know, it doesn't look the greatest. Well, I think it looks good, but it doesn't look as good as the one you can buy, but I can care less. I like it. And I just have to hook it up. I gotta run the wires for the fuel gauge, and I don't have an air fuel ratio O2 sensor or gauge. This is just a mock-up gauge that's broken. I'm gonna get one installed and that's where it's going to go. Now it has a spot. But the fuel gauge, why I'm doing that is I'm taking out my whole cluster, and that fuel gauge don't work as it is. It lies to you, says you have more than you actually do. I actually ran out of gas because of it, side of the road already. But this cluster's coming out. I found a new trim ring that goes in here. So once I get that, I'll fab up something, maybe some polished aluminum insert, and I'm going to be removing the tack from there, and I'm going to be putting it in the dash along with the speedometer. Will be in the dash there, and that's all that you'll see up here. Yeah, I would have liked it if I had all these gauges and those ones matching in the dash with the RPM and speedometer, but yeah, what the hell, I don't care. Maybe in the future when I can afford, what is it, Canadian, it's like $1,500 for aftermarket gauges. That's insane. I'm not paying that. So also I put my new ignition in. This metal ring was broken off of mine, so it was hard as hell on the fingers to turn the key. Now it works good. Simple as that. And I also hooked up this red button, which controls power to all the buttons. So I flick that up, those turn on, and then you got fuel, you got water pump, you got fans, power steering. So if I have these on, I flick that, they all turn off. So that's that. I don't know if I showed you my reverse cam. Well, not forward and backward facing camera. You can switch it. You can move up and down. This is the back one. Goes pretty high, the range. You know, you can find some cool stuff on Amazon. Not everything's junk. The front one, you look up. You look right down at the motor. Flick it or slide it. You can do a dual. So you got front and back. You know, full recording, time and date. I thought it was pretty cool to add to this, especially with these tiny little mirrors. It's hard to see behind you. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, so there's the gauges. I think it turned out okay. I'm sure other people can do better, but here's a good idea and how to do it. You know, trial and error gets you somewhere. You know, you learn from your mistakes, and you keep trying, and you'll get better at things. This is only my second time doing anything with carbon fiber, so I'd say that's pretty good in my book. So thanks for watching. I'm sorry I couldn't film everything, but the majority of what you have to do was filmed as I was doing it. Most of it was just a repeat of what I did when I was filming me do it. I explain that throughout this video. So I'm going to try and do that more often. I'm going to try and get one of those tripods to hold my phone. And, you know, things are slow right now. You know, winter and all. It's freezing in here. I'm in a t-shirt. I'm freezing my ass off doing this so I can wrap up this video. Because cutting fiberglass gets itchy, especially you put your coat on, your arms start itching. So, and if you guys are doing this, here's a little bit of advice. Don't take a hot shower if you got this fiberglass all over your skin. It'll just be itchy as hell. Try and take like a cold shower to get it off. And make sure you rinse yourself off before you start rubbing yourself, because you don't want the shit in your eyes either. So until next time, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed.